everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in tonight on the SoFLo Sports Show. It's your host, 305 Sports Babe, and next to me, co-host Lou from Dade. On tonight's episode, we have your friend, our friend, everyone's friend, Dolphins fan of the year, cancer butt kicking, and just a dang great person, Ian Biggie Berger, joining us tonight.
Yep, we're all Biggie strong. So we got our wristbands going on here, and always awesome. It was, you know what? I don't care about the results. I mean, I do a little bit, but whatever happened Sunday, who cares? The highlight of the season was seeing Big E at the game on Sunday and seeing him ring the bell, which we'll get to in a second.
Yes.
It makes everything worth it.
He announced, like typical athlete fashion, right? I'm getting off the IR and I'm seeing you guys Sunday. And there's so much like caca and like lies on social media that some people thought like Ian was just like pulling our strings.
Right.
So when you saw him in the flesh on Sunday, it was just such a beautiful thing. So tonight he'll be giving us a health update, kind of what treatments he did at UPenn, what's the next steps, and then what would be a show without talking about those 1-5 Dolphins. So we got to get into it. Man, Ian is such a positive guy. He's Mr. Positive, and so I'm so curious to hear what he has to say about these 1-5 Dolphins. So without further ado, let's bring Ian. Let's bring him on.
Fire everyone. No, I'm kidding. We'll talk about that. Hey guys, it's nice to see you.
What's going on? Those damn Dolphins. Oh, I get it.
It's nice to see you guys. I saw you on Sunday too. It's so great seeing y'all. And I know we talked about how it was just so crazy on Sunday. We didn't get a chance to really talk, but I got a chance to give you all hugs, which was awesome.
Yes.
And got a chance to see everybody. Yeah, and it's especially as I get older, as my kids get older, it becomes harder for us to do things as a family. So it's so special for them to be able to attend the game and then be able to see, what happened at halftime with the ringing of the bell. I thought that was pretty incredible.
Oh, we're going to talk about all that. So,
and I'll say I'm glad I was wearing sunglasses because I may have teared up just a little bit seeing you live in the flesh there, and it was great. And what a moment!
Yeah, awesome. Lou has he likes to get up halftime, go to the bathroom, get another beer, and something told me, Lou was like, "Do you want to get up?" He said, "No, let's just stay." And I am so grateful that you were able to hold your urination and you didn't need another beer because it was just a beautiful moment that we all got to experience with you and cheer you on.
It was great.
But I got to be honest with you. I really thought that when you got back to South Florida that the things with the Dolphins would have turned around. I kind of figured in my mentality, I'm like, all right, they're doing terrible because Big E's not here, but now he's back in town. He's going to be the good luck charm. And so
the team let us down again, but hey, listen, that again is secondary, way secondary. Most important thing is Big E's back at the home game.
Yes.
And he's back in Miami, and so
we're excited. So let's talk about it. So this summer you found out that you had cancer. And so you and your family and the doctors decided that your best treatment options were going to be at the University of Pennsylvania up in Pennsylvania. So you guys made the decision as a family, as a whole, as a unit to, as LeBron would say, take your talents, to take Ian up north to UPenn and to start your treatment. So tell everyone what happened the last few weeks at UPenn, everything that went on there, and where you're at now.
Yeah, so we went up there really because the doctors at University of Miami told us that the best place to go for a living donor is at University of Pennsylvania. We actually had a doctor who actually now is at UM, who used to be part of the transplant team up at UPenn. And he strongly advised us to do that. And he said, that's probably going to mean you guys moving there for a little while. And we're like, we're going to do what we got to do, right, to follow this process, to follow this path. So we went up there, and when the cancer stuff came up, it was kind of like a shock to everyone, because a lot of times what you don't realize, especially when it comes to transplants, is when you hear cancer, traditionally transplants are kind of off the table. But because of this specific type of cancer and the fact that it did not move, it hasn't metastasized, the transplant is still on the table. So that was like really, really good luck, or not good luck, but good fortune, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And the way that it worked is Jill and I were up there for 66 days. And for a month of that 66 days, we would leave our place. It's called the Transplant House, an amazing place to stay, which is about 3/4 of a mile from the hospital. We would leave at 6:45 in the morning and walk to the hospital with the 15-minute walk. And I get my radiation treatment, yeah, I'd get a shuttle back because by the time the radiation's over, I'm tired. So then I'd go back and go to sleep, and I'd eat my breakfast first, then go to sleep. And then at 1 o'clock, I'd have to go back and do the exact same thing. And my wife would, again, she'd go with me, and then we'd eat lunch afterwards, and then I'd sleep and then eat dinner and then rinse and repeat for basically 4 weeks straight, except for the weekends. I did have the weekends off, which was nice. And so did that. And by the time the 4th week was over, they allowed me to ring the bell there at UPenn because the treatments were over, which was definitely an exciting time. And, you know, we saw kind of what appointments I had left. And I said, hey, can I go home for a couple weeks? Really nice. And they're like, well, there's no reason for you to stay here. And, you know, the biggest issue that I could have happening to me right now is internal infections. Because of the radiation, because of the tubes that are currently inside that come in and out of my liver, actually. And they're like, well, we wouldn't do anything different than the University of Miami would do. So if you do get an infection, go to UM. They've treated you before for that, which they have. And they've done a good job with that. So that's why I got home and been home now for like a week and a half. And I go back up now next Wednesday. We have a boatload of more appointments then. So I don't know how long we're going to be there starting next Wednesday. But it's interesting because I came home and I felt like rejuvenated. It's interesting how this worked, because like for 66 days, I was thinking about all these things I needed to do at home and that I've been putting off for like some of the stuff I was just putting off for weeks, but some of the stuff I've been putting off for like a year. And I just kind of came home and I had all this energy and I was so excited to be home that I even kept myself a list of like the 25 things that I've done since I've been home.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And they gave me
Jill was probably like, who is this handyman? Who is this man hanging up these pictures I wanted hanging the last 10 years?
I don't know if she liked the fact that I was doing it or if she liked the fact that I was listing it out, because she loves a good list. So I think she likes the fact that I did the list. But so, you know, and unfortunately, so what happened was after the cancer treatments were over, I got a chance to take a little bit of a break from the chemotherapy medication that I've been taking. And I think that allowed me to have kind of that burst of energy. And last Wednesday, I started up again with the chemotherapy medication, and that stuff drains me and it makes me nauseous. And I mean, I'm just dealing with it every single day, however I can. Like when we had an event like we did last night, I rested. I probably slept an extra 2 to 4 hours during the day, knowing that I was going to try and you know, do as much as I could for the 2 hours that we were there. And it worked. And today I was kind of paying for it a little bit too, because I was exhausted and I just stayed in bed for most of the day. But yeah, it's the way life is, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So that's, you know, that's the good thing is that there's a couple of bittersweet moments, right? Number one is that the fact that I have cancer kind of sucks. And I also know that I am not the worst situation when it comes to cancer, because I know that people are fighting a lot harder than I am. I know that people have been dealing with a lot more than I have been. But the fact that I've been dealing with this liver issue is what allowed them to find the cancer. And had they not been looking for it, it may have just stayed in my body and just kind of grown to the point where it could have gotten really bad. Right. That's
what I'm telling people, because so many cancers go undetected until it's too late. And the fact that they were already, you know, doing checking you out and everything, it was a silver lining that they were able to catch it 1,000%.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the other silver lining. So right now, or before the cancer, I could only look at living donors for potential transplants. And now because of the cancer, I have been moved up on the deceased donor list. And they have informed me that it's probably going to be about 6 months before I start getting, I guess, included in the runs is what they say. So, you know, they find someone who unfortunately is deceased, who has, who said that they'd be a willing donor. And then they go ahead and see if anything's a match. And then they take whoever's highest on the list and they say, you get first dibs at this. What do you think? And then it kind of goes through the list. And then they have told me that it'll probably be 6 months from when they put me on the list, which was about a month ago. So we're probably talking about 5 months before I really start getting included on the list, or I start getting included for potential matches on the deceased donor list. But I'm hoping I'm hoping and praying some of these living donors will come through. So I got a chance to meet Rainy Day, by the way.
Yeah, so Rainy Day,
so cool.
we met him last week at the I would say the Fins Fan Social, my goodness, at the Bo Campers event.
Yeah.
And so we have a lot. We have Mike Rivera, who is a good friend of the show, big supporter of yours as well, Ian. He lives in Washington State. He had bracelets, the Biggie bracelets sent out, so he adores you. We also have Christian in the house. We have Wesley. Wesley said, it was a pleasure meeting you guys in Charlotte at the tailgate 2 weeks ago. Biggie strong. Correct. And then Paul is so sweet. Paul is my pal from England. And if you saw the pictures, I was able to introduce him to Richmond Webb, and it was just the most beautiful, beautiful thing.
I do owe Paul a hug, by the way. And I know
you got Paul. Okay, good.
I didn't get a chance to meet him, and I knew he came down, and he messaged me a couple days before saying, hey, can we meet up a couple days before? And I was not feeling well enough to be able to do anything. So, but he said, I think he's coming back towards the later end of the year. So hoping
he is.
Hoping I'll be okay enough to be able to do that.
My grandmother, who always asks about you, Josephine Ebby on Facebook. She's very good news. Hi, Ian. So good to see you. So you have a big, big fan and love and a grandmother in Daytona Beach. Planny says, hello, love you guys. She was also, it was amazing to hang out with her. She loved meeting you as well. So that was fantastic. I got a joke for you guys. And I just thought of it. So
one liver saved the other liver. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
So Ian, you said you were doing 2-a-days with your chemo and radiation the last few weeks, right?
Yes.
So you were essentially doing more practice than half of our Dolphins team, right?
Oh no,
that was good. No, that was, I shouldn't have said that.
Come on.
That was good though, right? If you let Ian smile, that was
true.
good.
It's true.
Good, right?
It is true.
Have you heard that one yet?
I have not heard that one yet, but it's true.
Oh, that was good. That was good, right? That was good.
That's good.
Love you. Okay. So, oh man, that's not gonna go well. All right. So, what else I got? So, so last weekend, right? So last weekend was actually your birthday, and you got to spend it with your family and your dad, and you got to see everybody. It was Fans Club weekend as well, and you've done many Fans Club weekends as we have. What was different about this one? Any highlights you want to share? Not talk about the game yet, but leading up to it.
So I didn't get a chance to get to Fan Club weekend on Saturday just because they're recommending I don't get to that many crowds of people. Because when you get to Bo Campers, it's like there's a lot of people in a small space. So I made the decision not to do that. Instead, I just spent it with my family having dinner. But nice. I know one thing that's different is that our friend Danny Johnson couldn't make it this time around. He's in Germany. I know he's dealing with some stuff on his own, but he was definitely in my thoughts this weekend because I know he doesn't like to miss Fan Club weekend, especially down south here. So that was big. But just again, it's interesting because the team was 1-4 before the weekend, and you still had a ton of fans that came in. My friend Big Mike from New York was in,
of course,
a bunch of other people, and Planny was there as well. Dahl was there as well. And all these people, even though the team isn't doing well on the field, they felt it was important to be together with the community. And I love that. That's what brings us together. That's what makes our fan base pretty strong. Is that we can endure this because we know in the future seasons when things get changed, things will be good, and we'll be back together again, and we'll be celebrating again. So, but I think that was a big piece, just bringing everybody together, seeing Rainey there as well, and seeing a bunch of other people that came from California. I met some people from Finland. I met some people
Germany, England. I mean, there's just so many. So you talk about bringing people together. So this summer we spoke with Maria and we decided to do just a little, what we thought was going to be a little fundraiser, right? Make some Biggie bracelets, mail them out, maybe 100 or so, and, raise money for your DCC to kind of help you close the gap as you get your treatment. So first of all, thank you to everyone who, let me put the flyer up, who went out and ordered a bracelet. There was over 350 orders. So not 350 bracelets, because there were people who ordered like 10 bracelets. So it was actually over 700 bracelets that were sold. And we were able to raise $3,080 to your DCC. Like, fantastic. And people, like, they keep posting about it like this. It's it's a little piece of rubber, but it means so much to so many people. They feel so much more connected with you. So I hope you felt the love with that.
Oh my God! Like especially at the games that I couldn't make, and everybody was showing the bracelets there that they were wearing. That was just very touching. And I know you talk about how it's a testament to me, but it's also a testament to you and Maria for originally coming up with the idea, but then you writing like notes in every mailing that you send out and sending out those mailings. I was asking Jill the other day. I'm like, does Ashley ever sleep? Because she's thinking.
I sleep so much. I honestly do. I'm asleep usually by 10 o'clock, minus the last 2 nights because I had cancer events. But Lou will tell you, 10 o'clock, I'm sleeping on the couch. He gives me a nug, let's go to bed. And I'm sleeping from 10 to 6. Oh, I get my sleep. Yeah. It's between the day. And I do have to tell you, it was a joint effort. Like, okay, I did about 95% of the work. But at the end of it, I'm like, I just can't make it to the post office. Like, it was back to school. I was really busy. And I'm like, Lou, you need to go to the post office and just drop them off for me.
I'll take the credit. I was, lifting a lot of envelopes, so my tongue had to go on the IR for a little bit there.
Always been on the IR.
And not for that reason. I made friends with the local mail lady.
So
She's
Lou was very intimidated to go there because he doesn't
going in big bags and dropping all these envelopes.
Was like bigger. I mean, here I was at a breast cancer event this week, but like triple the size of this. Yeah. And he was like
pouring it on the table
and
having
was like, babe, what do I do? I said, all you do is go to the front and you just give it to them. It's already paid for. It's addressed. And so we had to walk through it. So this has been such a great lesson for Lou to actually, first of all, not be scared to go to the post office, and second of all, I know, but you did think so. It was all in all, it was
a lot of mail.
But even so, we raised a lot of money for DCC to support the cause, so that's a big thing. Okay, so before we hit on Sunday, one more thing. So last night, you and I and a lot of our friends. Oh, wait, not that picture. This picture. We went to I don't think I showed you this one. Yeah. Maybe I did. I don't know. We went to the DCC Heavy Hitter Celebration. This year was at Dare Nightclub at the Hard Rock. And I texted you earlier in the week and I was like, is this really in a club? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, I haven't been in a club in so long. But then I remembered we were at 11 a few months ago. Right. So I was like that. So this is a picture. It started off outside. And then the party went inside. So this is outside of Dare. So you have me, you have Donna, you have Angel, you have E, and you have Tim, our friends from North Carolina. Great time. And then it was brought inside. And then this is one of my favorite things is it's that wall, right? We always go to the wall and you look through, I'm always on the right? I'm like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 and Ian's like all the way to the left. So it's not like we could ever take a picture together with our names because we're just so there. What'd you think of last night? I had a good time.
I had a nice time. I think it was the most amount of people at one of these events. It seemed like there were just so many people that were in attendance, which was great. One thing that I noticed, because I know this year we did it at Dare, last year we did it at the actual stadium. I think it was the club that they do for the F1 racing. It felt like it was a little too loud. You couldn't really talk too much.
Agreed. So, yes, agreed. It was a club. Club vibe.
It was a club vibe. A lot of great music. They had a saxophonist that was live. They also had a violinist as well who was live. And they did a phenomenal job. And then, of course, you got your Miami Dolphins cheerleaders who did a quick performance.
Beautiful, yeah.
Tremendous. But, it's just nice to see all these people getting recognized for the great work that they're doing for the DCC. And I think that's what it's all about. And I love that Javier puts it together for everybody. And I love that these people get a chance to get recognized for raising over $4,000. And that list just continues to grow. I think they mentioned the number of 400 and something people made that list or were eligible to be able to attend the heavy hitter event. And I think this year it's going to be even more just because it's.
So that number sticks out to me. The other number that I want to mention is, I don't know if you caught it last night. This year, DCC will surpass $100 million in altogether out of all its years in existence. So that's a big one. Real quick in the chat, Josephine Ebby says Miami Dolphins family, friends, and fans number one. I think we could all agree on that statement. Absolutely. We also have Red Storm polls. I have to give a shout out to my St. John's Nation.
Right? I saw that.
Oh man. And Lou was like, Ash, no one cares about St. John. I was like, I care because we're ranked number 3 in the nation for a preseason ranking, the highest ever in school history. So Dolphins, you could only hurt me so much because guess what? The Johnnies are back, baby. They are back. But no, we had a great event. So fast forward to Sunday. Sunday we wake up. We know the Chargers are in town, so we know it's going to be.
Before you mention, I want to go back to Philly though here, Big E. And Adrian's in the chat, and I know that you spent some time with him. You recommended a spot where he enjoyed, and then also you ran into a Dolphin bar. Was it to watch the Jets game or the Panthers game?
It was a Jets game. It actually wasn't even a Dolphins bar. It was just a place where
we made it into a Dolphins bar.
Yeah, Ghost of Adam Gase and I wanted to watch the game together, and I was like, "What do you think of Patty Wax?" That's where we ended up going on South Street, and he's like, "No, that's a great place to be." And Dolphriki mentioned that's where she used to always go when she lived in Philly. So it was a great place, and we ended up having about 10 or 12 Dolphins fans there. When we walked in, there was absolutely nobody there. So we had one side of the bar was all ours, and it was 12 Dolphins fans cheering along, and it was a lot of fun. And that's kind of what I envision Dolphins out of town like meet and greets can look like. And you really, if you think about it, you only need like 3 or 4 Dolphins fans to come together in one place, and then other people will show up. Now, of course, too, you also need a winning product on the field because I don't think anybody wants to go. If they're thinking it's going to be really tough to watch. But that Jets game was a win, so it was fun to watch. It was a great time. And my wife came too, which was a lot of fun.
Fantastic. And how many staff over at UPenn have you converted into Dolphin fans? Do we have an official number yet?
Well, remember, they're coming off of a Super Bowl win.
Right.
But I have met so many great people just from the shuttle drivers that I've had great conversations with about football, about the Dolphins, about the Eagles, to the doctors and the nurses that, they're the people who were doing my radiation. They thought I was crazy because during radiation, they ask you to select the music that you want to listen to. And I said, "Do you got any EDM, electronic dance music?" And they're like, "Well, we'll have to find it, but yeah, whatever." So every morning at 6:45, they'd have my EDM music prepared for when I'm doing my radiation therapy. It was a lot of fun. So I got to know these people.
This year, he's going to Ultra Miami Music Fest. We'll make it happen. We know people.
The only way I'd go is if I can get VIP, because I can't stand.
That's all how we roll, VIP only. As our buddy he says, wristbands only. We got the wristbands. We're getting you in. Don't even worry about that. So Sunday happens, and it's Dolphins Chargers, and you make the announcement that you're off the IR, you're going to be there. And so again, people think like, okay, maybe it's like an April Fool's, but then you're actually there. And I see you, like we're walking down, we get stopped a lot. Obviously a lot of our friends are in town. So I kept saying, "Lou, like we got to go see Biggie. I see his head up there. Like I know it's him. It's not Chris Barker." Although they get you guys mixed up sometimes with the height. So we get down there, and then not one, but both of your daughters, Jessica and Danielle, were there. So that was fantastic. Yeah. And I got to say, your daughters, they're stunning, beautiful, and they're really tall. And so when people see your family picture, they think Jill is like this midget. Jill's actually.
She's a 5'7" midget.
To you, and I know, I'm 5'7" too. And I mean, like, but the fact that your daughters and you are so tall that Jill looks like a midget. But guys, for the record, Jill's actually 5'7". She is very, very tall as well. Tall. So here's a picture of us. We were able to grab you for 5 seconds. We're like, we got to share Ian today. Any other day we won't share him, but today we got to share him. And so that happened. And I know everyone is just so ecstatic to see you. And so the game happens, obviously Lou and I, we can discuss that later about the game. And then at halftime. So Jill said something on Facebook along the lines of like, "Hey, I think the Dolphins are going to do something for Ian. If they do, can anybody record it?" But I didn't see that till after. I just didn't want to get up at halftime, and I made you stay, which again, this is not really like you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to play it. It's like a 20-second clip. Go Big E! So then Lou looks over at me and he was like, "Ash, get it together." I said, "No, I'm just so happy." He also said the same thing to me last week when the Panthers championship banner went up. So I cried twice in sports the last 2 weeks. So Ian, tell us what happened. Did they reach out to you before? Bring us through that. What went on?
Yeah, Javier, who's in charge of the DCC, he reached out to me a couple days before, and he's like, "Hey, would you be interested in going on the field?" And I think there's a little skepticism from my wife because I wouldn't necessarily say that I've I've beaten cancer just yet. I'm still fighting.
Yeah.
I have not done any testing, which has said it's completely gone. But I'm done with my treatments, or I'm done with the radiation treatments. I'm still doing the chemo. And in theory, once I get my liver transplant, I should be 100% good to, gone the whole 9 yards. So I asked Javier what he thought about that. He's like, man, it's completely up to you. It would be an honor for us to have you out there. And I said, I'm in, so he came and got me, and my girls stayed up, and we ended up spending time in the PNC suite for the game, which was also another amazing opportunity, and amazing, because I just didn't want to be out like with everybody. I just wanted to kind of be to myself a little bit during the game. So when I was sitting out there, when Javier finally got me to the field, I kind of looked over and I could see my family, and that's kind of what this message. Obviously, we all know that's a big heart, right? So I could see them, and we finally caught each other's attention, and I gave them the big heart, and they could give me the big heart, and they were like doing the wave, the Queen wave, and
the Miss Americas.
Yes, the Miss America wave. So they knew I could see them from where they were, which was really it was a great experience, and it was hard to look at the bell when I first saw it, but I was able to actually do it, and I think having 3 other people ringing the bell at the same time was a little helpful. But yeah, that was tough to. Again, I've gone through it, but I know people who are still fighting, and they're fighting a lot harder than I had to fight. So my thoughts are always with them, So, but I think the important message, like I know we saw Dolphins real estate guy recently. He said that he's dealing with something. I think he's got a brain tumor, and I just all you can do is fight, because the doctors are going to help you, and they're going to point you in the right direction. And because of places like Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, they come up with different ways to provide the radiation, to provide support, to provide help for people like him, for other people that are fighting the disease. So I think the biggest thing is that when you're not feeling right, you got to get yourself checked out. I think that's the biggest thing. Because if not, something can continue to get worse until it gets to the point where maybe it's just not good enough.
Exactly. Ian, so if people want to support you now, I do want to bring up your DCC page. If you guys can see it, this is Ian's page. This year he set a goal of 25,000. He's at about 19.5 right now. Ian, can you tell me about the raffle you got going on here?
Yeah, so I don't know. I've said this on Twitter, but I don't know if I've said it on a podcast. I do make some money off of Twitter. Probably end up making about $1,000 a year from my engagements. Made a decision a long time ago that I wasn't going to do. Like I wasn't in it for the money. So I decided to then just put that money towards purchasing autograph memorabilia that I will then put into the raffles. And last year, 2024, I wasn't able to do it because I was in and out of the hospital. It was pretty much like every 2 to 3 weeks, I was in the hospital for a week to 2 weeks. So this year now I have 2 years worth of stuff that I'm raffling off because of that. And so ultimately all of that money that I've made from Twitter is going back to the Dolphins Cancer Challenge. And it's through this raffle, and the raffle is going to end up taking place probably the 1st or 2nd week of December. I definitely want to get it done before the holidays, so that way if someone wants to, happens to win and they want to give it as a gift to someone, they'll be able to. But
good idea. I mean, for you love your Dolphin stuff. All right.
And Biggie mentioned some of the things that are in the raffle, some of the items.
It's crazy. So I got so all these are autographed. Mark Clayton, Mark Duper jerseys. I have Devon Achane, which I'll be adding. I haven't shared that one yet, but that's one I'll be adding this weekend. I got a Tua jersey, which I know some people will love. Some people might not love it as much.
Some people might need toilet paper. Some might need a frame. Okay. Yeah. Just kidding.
Jason Taylor's autographed jersey. Also, Zach Thomas autographed football.
There you go.
I have a Tyreek Hill autographed helmet. And then I have, Ricky Williams also autographed. So like a bunch of different stuff. Dwight Stevens. So, so not all of them are current. And I don't know how I got this one, but I got a Jordan Poyer autographed jersey.
You have a variety of depending what your taste is. You have something for everybody these days.
I do have something for everybody. So, I don't know. I don't think a Bills fan would want to, an autographed Miami Dolphins jersey of Jordan Poyer, but that's going to be part of the group as well. And there's a bunch more too. So I think it ends up being a total of 25 or 28 items altogether.
Amazing.
So it's going to be a real nice raffle. There's going to be a lot of winners, but it's also, what I love about it is, number one, the money that people are donating doesn't even go to my hands. It does go directly into the Dolphins Cancer Challenge site. So it's going directly to the DCC. The only thing that I do ask is, obviously, 25 items, it starts getting expensive when you talk about shipping.
Sure.
The winners will be asked to pay for the shipping, which should probably be about $10 domestically, and then with more money internationally, because I have had some folks ask, well, if I'm international, can I participate? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Just, you got to pay for the shipping. That's all.
No, I have your page up. I just want to show people. So the easiest way, if you don't use Ian's link, you just go to dolphinscancerchallenge.com. You just type in his name here, Ian Berger, and then it brings you to his page. So if you want raffle tickets, again, Ian just said you can't Zelle him any of this stuff. The easiest way is to go to his page. And so, for example, if Lou and I want to do, let's say, 100. So you click here, and then you say 100 raffle tickets, and then you put your email address here. And so this is how you get your tickets. So Ian will keep track of all raffle tickets here. So for $100, we get 30 raffle tickets. So guys, if you wanted to, well, maybe later we'll finish it, but this is where you do it right on. We will. And then it reminds you, complete the $100 gift to make an impact. So you definitely can't get around it. So don't just go window shopping. You're in it, guys. So definitely support Ian's raffle going on. And then before we let you go, we just have to talk about the Dolphins. I know we've talked about so many different. Go ahead.
Sorry, can I just share one story?
Go ahead.
I do want to say, because you mentioned Jordan Poyer, you mentioned the Bills, and I got to say, about a month ago, prior to our trip, because we were in Buffalo for the game, and a month prior to that game, somebody on Twitter, X, reached out to me. I believe his name is Chris. I should know the name, but he reached out, and randomly, I had said something disparaging against the Bills.
Never, Lou.
And he said, "Oh, that's great. Look, this is back and forth." And then he said, "Who is this Big E guy, and what's going on with him?" And I told him the story, and the guy made a donation for the bracelets, and he said, "Hey, I want to support the cause." And I said, "You know what? It's you Bills Mafia guys are making it very hard to hate you, because you're a bunch of sweethearts." And the guy said, "Listen," and as I believe, as well as we all believe, there's a lot bigger things in football, and he clearly realized that this was one of those. Wanted to support you, even though he didn't know about your story. I filled him in. Ashley filled him in a little bit about it, and he donated for the bracelets. And he said, "Hey, just give it out to some people that you see," and we sure did that. And
the stories, so many, like the Indianapolis Colts fan of the year, Marin Sheep bracelet. The Jets fan of the year, Lady She did it. Your mother made a nice donation towards it. Shannon Needham, Nick Needham's mom, Richmond Webb. I mean, you still have the list. Like, the list is. It's just fantastic. So no, you are. I mean, you're very loved. Okay.
Angel wants to know how does it feel to be home? How does it feel to be back home?
I never was away from home as long as I was away this last time, 66 days, and it was great. It was great looking to just sleeping in my own bed, spending time with my daughter. That was a big one too, and then also seeing my dogs. I thought my dogs may have forgotten me, but they did not.
They don't forget.
But it's just, there's all these comforts at home, not having to wear shoes everywhere you go, not having to, knowing you have your own refrigerator, you can do your own things, and also hitting up some of your favorite restaurants too. Like we don't have, one thing, they have a lot of great food up in Pennsylvania.
They do.
They don't have a good Mexican place that I found yet. We have a place called La Famba's down here in Margate that I absolutely love. And it's not expensive, and they give you like sizzling chicken fajitas on a big old platter. It's huge. I can't find that. I tried finding it up in Philly. Can't find it.
No, you have Italian food. You have the pretzels. You have the Philly cheesesteak. Dwayne, our buddy from California, we love Dwayne. Looking good, Biggie. Looking good.
Yes.
All right.
We had Dwayne shared it a year ago.
It was.
He was down here,
and
he got in the field, and he was able to meet Joe Rose. So that was an awesome moment. So Dwayne, we miss you. We need to see you soon. All right, guys, if you, I know you want to switch things up really quick, but if you're watching on Extra Twitter, come on over to YouTube, drop in the chat, drop in a comment, show Big E some love. He deserves it.
Buy those raffle tickets.
And buy those raffle tickets. Absolutely. We're going to. I need some of those jerseys.
Christmas maybe can come early. Your birthday's before, but my birthday's even sooner, so we'll see. Okay, so Ian, before we let you go, I thought hey, we'll just talk about your health, but we just have to talk about the Dolphins a little bit. Just
the elephant in the room. I'm not talking about me.
It's not me because I lost a little weight. So, and it's not Big E because even last night, Donna made a comment to him. We're looking at him and his suits are very big on him because he lost all the weight. So Donna starts going like this to him, and then I start going with his legs, and I'm like, we need to try to go fund me. His suits are too big, but all his weight that he lost, his suits are.
I just had no time. It's such not a priority for me. That's why.
But yeah, his suits are big. So there's no elephants in the room. The only elephant in the room is our 1-5 Miami Dolphins off to such a diabolical start. Finger pointing. Possible trade rumors. I know the big one, and I hate talking about rumors, but Jalen Waddle is potentially to New York, to the Giants. Coach McDaniel just terrible right now. The people thought he'd be the first coach fired. Then obviously we saw that happen in Tennessee. And then the biggest issue I think right now is what Tua said after the game last week. And I mean, Will Mansa, I was following off of Will, our buddy, and was reporting this, and we're trying to leave the parking lot. I'm like, Lou, look what Will is saying. And he was like, is it legit? I said, Will does not report fake news. Will is not fake news. And Will's like, Tua said this, Tua said that. I'm like, my goodness. So Ian, I guess what I'm trying to say with all that going on, where do the Dolphins go from here? Do we flip it? Do we ride it out? What is your take?
Here's the thing, and I think back to, the first season that we had Brian Flores as the head coach, and we were really devoid of talent. That was the year that we also traded away Laramie Tunsil, and we got back a lot of assets for the future draft. And they still were able to end up winning a couple games at the end of that season, right? And that was supposedly the tank for Tua's season, which I was never a part of. But here's the thinking. My thinking is, number one, regarding the season, we are 1-5, but if you think about it, we could be 3-3 or 4-2 if it wasn't for maybe 4 or 5 plays, right? You got some boneheaded mistakes, like the one that Zach Sealer made on special teams, right? That created a penalty, right? You've got the last 2 weeks where Tua did bring the team back. He did bring the team back to where we were winning, but our defense just can't stop the run, and our defense has got holes that they're just not able to fill at the moment. So I look at all those things and I say that's a general manager's responsibility to make sure that we have the right staff in place. The coaches are only going to be able to coach what they have in front of them, right? And I hate placing blame, but when you start getting to a 1-5 record, you have to start placing the blame at different places. But I mean, if you think about it, if our defense just would have held up last week, we would have had the win. If our defense would have held up 2 weeks ago, we would have had that win in Carolina. Now people would have been like, well, it was Carolina, you didn't blah, 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 blah. But last week was a legitimate team. I think the Chargers are a legitimate team, and we could have easily won that one. So I'm down because it is a lost season, no matter how we look at it. Although I read something today that there's a 10% chance that the Dolphins can make the playoffs. All right, let's just win one game and we'll see what happens from there. As far as the Tua comments, I think he realized right afterwards that he made a mistake. And I know in our daily lives, both me professionally, even with my family, with my kids, I don't know about you all, but sometimes, I'll say something to Jill and I'll be like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that. Excuse me, PG rated, right?
No. We can say shit. It's okay. And we do that too. We will say something, Lou's like, oh, I didn't mean that. No, we're human. At the end of the day, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Exactly. And unfortunately, he's under a microscope right now because of the way that the team is performing. And I kind of ask people who are that critical of him to think of it if we were 5-1 and he made those exact same comments. Would it be taken to that type of level where it's kind of blown up at the national media and people are saying to us? And I think the answer to that would be no, because they'd say, oh, it's a player who's holding team members accountable, for these team meetings. So I think it just might be where we are as a franchise. That type of comment probably it's not the right place, not the right time. So that's why, I don't look to him and be like, I can't believe he said it. He said it, and he's regretted it, and he's come back and he's owned up to it, and he's apologized to the people that he needs to apologize to. I saw some people who were like, yeah, Patrick Paul's just going to let Myles Garrett run over two on Sunday's game.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No,
we can't do that.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, listen, I'm guilty as well. I've been critical too, especially today. But look, at the same point is you mentioned it. If the record was reversed, if we're 5-1, it would be a different perspective. And look no further than Dan Marino. Dan Marino, called out players. Now the difference is Marino, backed it up with his play.
Right? Yeah,
exactly. So he gets a pass on that. But you're right. But look, no one needs to be wishing that offensive linemen miss their assignments to let him get hurt. That's completely off the record there. And so, but it's tough. And so I wanted to ask you also as a follow-up. Could this be Tua's last year because you mentioned it's a lost season. I agree with you. And then McDaniel also, specifically with a statement that Ross released saying that Greer and McDaniel will be back. And then here we are. Obviously, when he released that statement, he heard the noise and he was expecting better. And you could say whatever you want about we were close, we were, but at the end of the day, the record is the record. So when do you think we get close to maybe somebody's job?
Drastic move.
Yeah, as it relates to Tua, I think he's with us at least through next season. I think his contract is designed that way. Like, you're not going to give up that kind of money to let him go for next year. I want to say it's like $40 million or $50 million. But with that said, I don't think it would hurt to draft a player probably within the top 3 rounds if you find somebody that you have conviction of. And I say that saying it should not be Chris Greer making this draft. I do think that a new general manager needs to come in, and they need to come in with their style and their plans, and they got to look at everybody. And then also I think they look at Mike McDaniel. I think that's the ultimate decision of the new general manager. Do we retain Mike McDaniel? And they could look at it the same way that I looked at it. Well, difference of about 4 or 5 plays is what's really the difference between 3 or 4 wins for this team up to this point. And also we need to see where this team finishes up. Are they going to fight? Are they going to continue to fight to try and get wins? Or are they going to give up and we're going to see some lopsided 20, 30-point losses? I think a lot of that has to do, if you fire Mike now, what are you going to get? You're going to get a secondary person who's probably an assistant coach in one of those other fields. And do you want to make that switch right now? Who knows? Stephen Ross has a tendency to let coaches go after international games. So it may be we have to see what happens in Madrid, and then see if he, if Mike makes it. I mean, honestly, I really like Mike. I like the fact that we've had opportunities to talk to him, that he's been really down to earth. So I'd be
come
sad.
to DCC with his family.
Yeah.
I mean, the supporter of that. He's not a bad person, and
I won't say he's a bad person.
Exactly.
I get you completely what you're saying. At the end of the day, he's a person. He's a dad. He's trying to do his job. But it's also like if it's not there,
I will tell you. I think back to kind of what kind of created the downfall. And I'll bring you back to one moment, and it sticks out in my mind more than anything that there is. We were playing Tennessee Titans at home. It was a night game. Maybe it's a 4:00 game or an evening game. And we had just stopped Tennessee.
Is that the night you proposed to me? Oh, that's the night Lou proposed to me, Ian.
Was that the one where Bradley Chubb took his helmet off and threw it to the ground and he got a 15-yard penalty? I think that was 2-3 seasons ago. So it might not have been that same game.
No.
I thought that was like no, not that one.
Different one. But I mean, for no reason at all, Bradley Chubb takes his helmet off, throws it on the ground, 15-yard penalty, and what happens? Tennessee was down by 2 touchdowns, and they came back and won that game. And It feels like ever since that moment, it's just been kind of like this slow downhill. Like we were at a pinnacle at that point because had we won, I think we would have been like 10-2 or something like that, or 10-3. It would, and we would have been able to almost clinch the AFC East at that point, if I remember correctly, too.
Yes, you're right.
And it's all fallen at that point. And I don't know, maybe coach didn't handle it the way he should have. Maybe he should have said, "Hey, listen, you cost us this game." No one likes to point the finger, but I mean, he single-handedly could have been the reason why that game lost, even though the defense had opportunities to stop them again and they couldn't. But anyway, I think back for this regime, and I think that's kind of the beginning of the downfall.
No, that's a good point. B, we'll get you out of this. Despite all this and 1-5 record, big juicy matchup on the schedule this Sunday. The Browns.
Matchup.
I mean, come on. I mean, the Browns are there for the picking. You got a rookie quarterback making his third career start. Are we going to win on Sunday, Big E?
I'm going to say I hope so. I really could use a win. I really could use a win heading back to Philadelphia.
Yes.
It's 2-5 feels a lot better than 1-5. Let's just be honest. And I know some people are at the point where they're like, why are we going to win? We're going to mess up our, where we end up in the draft. Honestly, it doesn't matter where you end up in the draft if you've got the wrong person making the picks in the draft. I saw a visual today of the 32 picks in the most recent NFL draft where they graded every player, and Kenneth Grant was the only player to get worse than a D. He got an F. Everybody else got A's, B's, and C's, and Kenneth Grant got an F. And he picked 15th or 14th or 13th. I forget where he was.
13th, I think. Yeah.
13th first round.
What about your second pick, Savanaya? I know he won in the third round, but he's been awful. We had a great perspective where we saw him just completely push back 7 yards and just tossed aside to get to Tua. It's really disconcerting when the top two picks are misses so far. Still early, but you don't expect those guys that you selected with such confidence to come in here and be behind the 8 ball like this.
And also I want to add this Sunday, I don't know if you guys saw the weather in Cleveland, 50 to 60 mile-an-hour winds,
yes,
and then a 90% chance of rain. So it is conditions.
So it's going to be a ground game, and who has the advantage when it comes to the run game, right?
Well, certainly not.
Yeah, I was going to say our run defense looks like Swiss cheese. There's holes all over the field, unfortunately. So
it's going to be rough. We play Browns this week, then we go to Atlanta next week, and then right after that we have the Thursday night primetime game against potentially Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, who are having a struggling year. So the next 3 weeks, and they've got to remember the Falcons just beat the Bills. That's just so there's a lot of interesting football to be played the next 3 weeks. So we shall see. But Ian, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It is amazing to see you back home. It was amazing to hug you, to see your family. I speak on behalf of everybody that it was the best part of this week. You and Paul, right? It was close because, Paul from England is just the sweetheart, but you guys, you really just, despite everything that's going on with the team, a lot of the bad, just seeing you made our weekend, made so many other people's weekend, and anything we can do to support you. Obviously, guys, the biggest thing, Ian, correct me if I'm wrong, but the big thing that we're pushing now is your DCC raffle. Anything else that how people can support you right now?
Not at the moment. I am going to get some, I think 4 tickets and a parking pass to the New Orleans Saints game, which again, I don't know if that's going to drum up anything, but we'll look.
November 30th,
yeah. Yeah, we'll look to raffle that off. Somebody's donating that for the cause. So, and then come towards the end of the season, I always do a playoff pick 'em where it's the best one wins. And then when we get into picking the numbers for the Super Bowl, there's always the Super Bowl. So my goal is to hit 25,000 this year. I think I'm on my way. I think I've actually already exceeded what I did last year. Thanks a lot to what you did with these bracelets and with everybody participating and supporting me.
My pleasure.
So yes, but I love you guys, and we didn't get a chance to talk on Sunday, but we caught up today, so that's good.
Yeah, even last night, like every time I looked, Josh Moser was talking to you, Javier. I was like, all right, I really have to share him today again. So like the North Carolina people took me underneath their wing, and I'm like, but so no, it was just so great to see you in the flesh the last few days, and we know you go back to Pennsylvania, so cheer on the Dolphins. Up there, you're a big cheerleader up in PA, and hopefully they'll get their act together soon.
Yes. Well, that's it.
All right, guys, you know how to follow him. Big E on the socials, Facebook, Ian Berger. So we will catch you soon.
We love you, Big E.
Love you. Everyone loves you. Love you. I love you. I love you. All right, Big E, you take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Good night, guys.
He's so loved.
He is the best. He's the best. And again, despite the 1-5 start, despite whatever, that's the number one story right there.
Bigger than football.
Way bigger than football. And it is
better than football.
Absolutely.
Better
so
than
we are
football.
so glad he's back home. as he mentioned, he's going to be heading back up to Pennsylvania
Next Wednesday.
for continued treatments. But it was nice to have him down here. Nice little escape, and we look forward to his next time down after his most recent treatments coming up.
Definitely. So, guys, we all watched the game last Sunday. Dolphins lost against the Chargers, so it was the whole Tua and Herbert saga continued. Tua, although on paper had 3 interceptions, really one of them were his fault. The first one that we all saw was Jalen Waddle right off his chest into the hands of the Chargers defense, who obviously did what they had to do with that.
Yeah.
And so we just couldn't pull out the win. It was false hope in the fourth. We thought, okay, maybe we saw the light. And then Herbert and team ran it the other way, meaning the other way on the field, and we just did not win. I remember leaving that game, and it was just numb, right? I know it was going to be a hard one to win, but we just were like outside of the concession stand, and I felt like I blacked out. Like I was just so mad. And you said that somebody even went past me and said, "Oh, that's her," meaning 305 Sports Babe. And I guess they saw how upset it was.
Don't even,
just let her be.
We were shocked, man. This was the game to turn things around. Fan club weekend, all these fans from all over the world. People you mentioned Paul from the UK.
Everybody.
People from Germany. We saw Dirk. We hung out with Dirk and his crew.
The German
fan club. And then so many people from California, NorCal and SoCal, came down here and see a California team beat the Dolphins at home. It was tough. Yeah. And then, look, the story of this game was once again the Dolphins. A couple stories in this game, but the Dolphins defense, once again, to Kamani Vidal, backup running back for the Chargers, went for 124 yards after Rico Dowdle 2 weeks ago against for the Panthers, had 206 yards. So the Dolphins defense continues to get mashed on by the offense, and we just cannot stop anybody. Tua, you mentioned 21 to 32, just 205 yards. The 3 interceptions, only one was his fault, but he really couldn't, get things going. That one interception that was his fault, led to a Charger touchdown. And then Herbert, the elephant in the room is also Herbert versus Tua. Of course, Tua went 5th, Herbert went 6th. Herbert had a real nice game, 29 to 38, better completion percentage, which was one of our questions in our contest last week. This week's question is coming up. Mike Rivera, Miami Mike, you're in the room. So that question's coming up in a second. But 2 touchdowns, no interceptions for Herbert. Yeah. That's the story. And then the Dolphins only got to him one time, just 1 sack. And, of course, Jalen Phillips, as the game was on the line, was not able to bring him down, which led to the game-winning touchdown. So just a very disappointing game. The Dolphins, going back to McDaniel, they did not make adjustments at halftime. The Chargers put up 14 points in the third quarter and had a big enough lead where the Dolphins just could not, keep them away and get that W.
And then after the game, obviously our seats this year are on the tunnel. So we waited to see if Coach McDaniel would go out the tunnel, because traditionally, like every other game, the players go out than the coaches. McDaniel, guys, I didn't tweet about this, but I'm just saying, McDaniel did not go out that tunnel. I don't know how he left the field, but he did not go out that tunnel. Who did go out the tunnel was Stephen Ross. And you know how he went out? He went out like this.
Yeah, head down. And I'll tell you another guy whose head was down, Dan Marino. Dan Marino walked out of that tunnel. He's actually one of the first guys to come off the field tunnel. This is, if you guys don't listen to Miami Sports Talk Radio and all that, Stephen Ross and Tom Garfinkel, the president of the Dolphins, came down presumably to celebrate a win after the touchdown, and they were left with complete shock when that didn't happen. But yeah, Dan Marino was the first guy to go through the tunnel, head down as well. I've never seen Dan Marino. Well, I've seen him mad before, but he was mad. He was mad. He did not have a good expression on his face, so that was tough. Look, the other side story, we talked about the Dolphins defense, the Tua Herbert. What about Jim Harbaugh? The Dolphins were tied to Jim Harbaugh. Stephen Ross went to the University of Michigan. There was an opportunity to possibly bring Harbaugh down here. That didn't happen. We whiffed on the Sean Payton situation. And we also, I think how to shut him, Mike Vrabel. They could have maybe brought in, they could have done the right thing and fired McDaniel last year and brought in Vrabel. They didn't do it. And so now there's definitely 2 coaches and maybe a third that we've missed on. And Harbaugh had the last laugh on Sunday by getting that win. Adrian
said it best. It's bad when Joe Rose is talking crazy about the Dolphins. I'm telling you, Joe Rose, obviously listen to him every morning on my way to Coral Gables to work. But Joe is just laying it in, and he every right to do so. So and then obviously Joe is local, but even national news is covering it. So guys, this week the Miami Dolphins go to Cleveland to play the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland's are a 2.5 point favorite, which essentially is it's a coin toss. Is what it is.
And
a 2.5 point favorite. It's a coin toss.
Yeah.
Both teams are 1-5. Both teams are having a struggle year. So, go ahead.
You do got a lefty on lefty matchup.
Yep.
Dylan Gabriel is making his third career start at the University of Oregon. Their rookie. Their backup is Shedeur Sanders because they traded Joe Flacco away. Joe Flacco is actually getting ready to get going tonight against the Pittsburgh Steelers in what people are calling the Uncle Bowl tonight between Flacco and Rodgers. So it's now down to Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. So we'll see how that goes. And then on defense, you got Myles Garrett, who's like a monster. This guy is a monster. And then you got, Big E mentioned Kenneth Grant. Well, Mason Graham, his teammate at the University of Michigan. He's a defensive tackle, big defensive tackle in that middle for the Cleveland Browns. So the Dolphins are going to have their work cut out for them. I said it was a big, juicy matchup. That's because the Browns are 1-5, and they're starting a rookie quarterback, making his third ever start. So the Dolphins defense was ever going to figure something out. This would be the week to feast on a rookie who's inexperienced. So hopefully Chubb, Phillips, and the boys can get on it and get to Gabriel plenty of time.
So Mike Rivera said, I feel like we're better than the Browns. I feel like we are as well. Contreras says, I ran out of the tunnel at the link. Oh, Lou, the 72 Dolphin picture was shown because they were talking about the perfection
Love
at my
it.
work conference.
Oh.
Adrian mentioned this before. The weather's going to be terrible, guys. Again, it's looking like 50 to 60 mile an hour winds in Cleveland this weekend. On top of that, you're looking at rain. So you take those two components and it's just terrible.
Do you have the leaderboard?
I do, yeah. That was the next one coming up. All right, guys.
So we're going to ask you a question this week, and then we got a couple more things before we get out of here.
Okay, so we'll start the leaderboard. You'll start the leaderboard.
Start with the leaderboard.
I got you.
Miami Mike's in the house. Russ is in the house. Russ had a big.
I didn't see Russ.
Russ scored last week. He got the point correct.
Hilarious.
So Russ is now in first place, tied for first place. There you see your leaderboard. So plenty of. I saw Steven Gonzalez in the room.
Yeah, he's there.
He's
Adrian
in there.
Is there.
This is wide open, guys. Wide open. Next week we're doing 2 questions. So 1 question this week for you guys. But as you see there, Rainy Day Pod. You got a bunch of guys here jammed. It's 2 points away, so anything could happen. So here's your question this week, and this is it. Week number 7 question: will the combined score of Dolphins Browns be over or under 35.5?
So again, remember the weather. It's going to be a heavy running game.
The weather. This was actually the lowest point total on the board in the NFL. I actually lowered it. It was 36.5 at last saw, and I put it down by a point. I wanted. Let's see. The Dolphins scored 27 points by themselves last Sunday. It's 35.5, guys.
There we go.
So what do we got?
So your prediction also as well. Give me a score prediction. So I know Adrian just said under, but Adrian, what do you think as a score prediction? So give us both. Curious to know.
So Russ, Steven, who else? I'm not sure Kurt's in the room, but guys, if you are in the room and you just saw your name on the leaderboard, you are in the hunt. So definitely drop your question, your answer to the question. If you don't do it today, you can definitely still do it on the comment section of the show following the show over. Steven's voted.
So you got under
over
by Adrian. Steven said over, so over.
There you go.
Okay. And then, guys, remember, give me some score predictions as well. So, Lou, as they start typing in the chat, what is your score prediction for this Sunday's game?
So, Big E was on tonight, so we wanted to dedicate time to that. I am right now really feeling down about the Dolphins, and I don't think I've ever been this low. Even during the 1-15 season, I don't think I felt this bad about this team. And I still can't root against them, but probably the best thing for us to do is lose games. Now, this I know it sounds horrible, but it's the truth.
Who are you?
I know. Who am I?
I need a new husband. I don't want that negativity.
I think I might have gotten concussed here or something, but yeah. But no, look, the best thing is probably for us to lose games, but I don't think this is one we're going to lose. We're going into Cleveland again. I just mentioned it's a rookie quarterback. Our defense, while they've taken their licks and chops this year, they are, we do have some good pass rushers, and I think we're going to get to the quarterback, maybe cause a turnover or two, and I see the Dolphins pulling this out in Cleveland on Sunday.
Okay, what do you think the score, though?
The score?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that because I don't want to influence people with their questions, so I don't want to do that. So all right, let's move on. So, guys, if you haven't done it, drop your answer to the question in the chat. If not, if you're missing this or catching it in a replay, you can put it on the comments. Also, guys, please remember to like tonight's episode so you can X out of the screen while you're watching it. and like the episode. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. All right, let's move on to Florida Panthers. Cats watch. The Panthers are actually in action right now in New Jersey, your home state. They are playing the New Jersey Devils
at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Also, where Seton Hall plays their home game. So
that's right. The
multi-use arena.
Yep, the Cats were off to a hot start on the season. They were 3-0 in the first 3 games at home, but they dropped their last 2. Lost the home opener for the Dolphin Flyers, and then they lost 2 nights ago to the Detroit Red Wings. So they are in action right now. I'm trying to look for a score update here, and it looks like the Panthers are up 1-0 heading into the second period. So that's the good news. The bad news is we did suffer an injury on opening night. Dmitry Kulikov went down. He tore his labor. He's got a labral tear, and he had surgery yesterday, so he is going to be out for 5 months. So that is not good news. But hey, we are hoping that we get all these guys back when it counts. Hopefully, they can get this win tonight and get back to the winning streak here, and we'll see how that goes. Daniil Tarasov is in net tonight, so Bob is sitting tonight out. So, but yeah, they're currently leading 1-0 right now in New Jersey.
Yep, Adrian says the depth will be tested this year. As we like to say down here, next man up. So we just got to keep it strong, and then when the guys come back. Baseball, Miami Mike just took it right from us. Dodgers up 3-1. Dodgers are playing Milwaukee Brewers. They're currently up 3-1. On the other side in the AL, we have the Toronto Blue Jays.
What's that score of the game right now?
Oh yeah.
No, when did you say 3-1 though? No.
Yeah, 3-1 Dodgers.
Oh, 3-1. Okay. So Dodgers.
Oh, you thought the series?
Yeah.
No, the score.
Yeah, series is 2-0 Dodgers. So yeah, they go up tonight. That's a commanding lead.
So that's your NL side. On your AL side, you have the Seattle Mariners taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. And a cool thing I saw real quick, because we were in Toronto just a few weeks ago, and a pilot from Toronto actually made a Blue Jays call sign in the air. It was. I'm gonna have to show you. It's really really cool. So they're taking their baseball series up in Toronto. I would like the Blue Jays to win. I mean,
I'm going for the Mariners. It is a 2-1 series right now in favor of the Mariners. I call this the 1977 series because both teams were expansion teams in 1977. So that's pretty cool. And Seattle is the only team that has not made the World Series. Yeah. So every other team in Major League Baseball has a World Series appearance, but the Mariners have never been there. So I'm hoping the Mariners can sneak in there. Plus, our good buddy Jamie Brady, who is in Seattle, huge Dolphin fan. He's going to attend, I think, Game 5. He said.
Amazing.
So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm rooting for the Mariners, even though you're going for the Blue Jays.
We were at both stadiums. Mariner Stadium is one of my top 5 stadiums. We literally slept in Roger Dean Stadium. Yep. So I don't really. Yeah, I mean, I'm going for the AL, of course. Okay. Well, not of course.
Yeah.
I know. Let me bring that back.
Yeah.
I like the Blue Jays. I like the Blue Jays in this one.
All right, let's wrap it up with let's look a look. First of all, I do want to mention that the Hurricanes got a big game tomorrow night at home at the Rock.
Friday Night Lights.
The second ranked team in America, hosting a rare Friday night home game. That's going to be a must-see TV. They'll have the spotlight to themselves. So hopefully the Canes can knock out the Louisville Cardinals and stay on track. Then finally want to finish with a look around the league in football. Steelers and Bengals are about to kick off in 10 minutes. Yeah. You got, again, that they're calling that the Uncle Bowl because you got 2 guys, in their late stages of their career, their final stages of their career, I should say, in Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco, 2 guys. Flacco, they both won Super Bowls, and so they're both. It's the Uncle Bowl tonight, so we'll see who prevails in that. Sunday, 9:30, another international game. You got
9:30 a.m.
Yep, 9:30 a.m. kickoff here on the eastern side of the United States. Yep. It's the Rams and the Jaguars. Of course, the Jaguars have a residency out there in London, so they will be out there again. It's very familiar territory for them. They're out there every year.
People. Oh, that's a good
Russ, the Eagles in a big game at 1 o'clock are going to Minnesota. The Eagles have lost 2 straight games and were shocked last week against the New York Giants in the Meadowlands. So the Eagles are trying to right the ship there. They are facing the 3-2 Vikings, 1 o'clock on the road from Minnesota. The Colts and the Chargers, a very surprising matchup. The Colts 5-1.
Wild.
No one would have thought that.
Wild.
The Daniel Jones-led Indianapolis Colts are 5-1 on the year, and they are going into SoFi Stadium where they will meet the Colts, the Chargers, who we just saw on Sunday. Chargers now 4-2 on the year, so that's a big matchup That's your 4 o'clock game highlighted. 8 o'clock game is going to be Sunday Night Football from San Francisco, the Atlanta Falcons, which is actually going to be the Dolphins' following opponent after the Browns. So that'll be the big matchup. Dolphin fans can scout the Falcons in that game. And then we finish it up with a doubleheader on Monday night. I'm going to highlight the big game in the NFC, well, used to be division rivals, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 5-1 are going into Detroit for a matchup with the Lions, who are 4-2. So that's going to be a big, big game on Monday night.
Yeah, no, a lot of good football this weekend, and hopefully the biggest game to us, we win Dolphins on Sunday.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, before we let you go, as a reminder, 305 Sports Travel will be heading to Atlanta next week. It is our big trip of the season that we're doing. We are completely sold out of a hotel room. Game tickets are at a premium, and then our I said that, and then highlight of the weekend, besides the game, is our FinFan Social. Ticket sales end tomorrow. Like, it is a hard cutoff tomorrow. We rented out the venue, so we have to give our final number. So, guys, if you are going...
It's not just any venue, by the way. It is overlooking the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So we are on a rooftop bar overlooking the stadium. Phenomenal views of downtown. I mean, you can kind of see it there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you are going to feel like you're on top of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So if you are contemplating going, if you're going out to Atlanta, if you know somebody that is, definitely let them know. They still have time. Well,
you have
a couple. No, that's what I meant. A couple hours.
Yeah, a little bit.
Tomorrow at 5 p.m. I think it's the deadline that we got to turn a final number. So if you're interested in going, we will be there for that. Of course, we got the game on Sunday and our group tickets. A couple sections that will be all Dolphin fans. Please for that. And prior to game, we're partnering up with the Perfect Tailgate. They will be doing their tailgate, which we just saw in Carolina. It was an awesome, good time. So they will be out there for that previous to kickoff 1 p.m. Sunday from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, we're looking forward to it. Any away game that we go, despite the outcome, it's always such a great time. Atlanta's a city that I've been to before. So for those on the trip, you received your travel guide, everything from the College Football Hall of Fame to getting food at the varsity to our social. There's just a lot to do in Atlanta. And so we really look forward to seeing everybody out there next week. We'll get there a few days earlier, and then we'll be there through Monday, and just a fun-filled week. We're also doing a tour of Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
That'll
be on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. I've done the tour before. It is a fantastic stadium tour. So, guys, if you want, you have to book that directly through the stadium. 11 o'clock, stadium tour of Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Saturday, and then it works out well because then you can go to social after. But you have to get your tickets for everything. Because they will sell out or run out of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Russ mentions that you cannot root for the Blue Jays because Joe Carter, too soon for that. Mitch Williams gave up that game-winning home run in the 1993 World Series, I believe. Yes, I think that's 93. So, you can't root for the Blue Jays. Russ says it. So, but yeah.
I just like sleeping in their stadium. That's the only stadium arena place that I've ever slept in. So I have a little allegiance to it.
That's true. Russ, we had a really good view of where that ball landed from Joe Carter's bat into the left field wall there, over the wall. So, but look, we're looking forward to it.
It's gonna be a good track.
We're hopefully following up, going into Atlanta, coming off a win.
That'd be amazing.
So hopefully the Dolphins can do their part and deliver that. And looking forward to it. But guys, thank you guys for joining us once again. Be sure to like tonight's episode. Just X out of this really quick and like our episode tonight. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Support everything that Big E mentioned. He's got some great raffle items up for that will be up for raffle.
Amazing ones.
Great ones. I mean, anything from jerseys to mini helmets.
To toilet paper. No, just kidding.
Anything you want, he's got it. So definitely support him and all the great causes that he has, especially, with him flying down to Miami and going up to Philadelphia. This is an opportunity to really support what he's trying to do in raising, money for a cause that at the moment right now is even more meaningful towards him because he's battling up against it. So Big E, you will not find a nicer person than him. Tremendous heart, tremendous family, more passionate than him you won't find either. Loyal, just an overall great person. And so everything and anything well.
Hey, great guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. It's got some baseball tonight. You got some football tonight. You got, obviously college basketball starting soon, college football. So just a lot of sports going on. So enjoy it, take it in. October is the best month with everything going on. So guys, until next time, we will see those in Atlanta next week. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do a show before we leave. So safe travels to those going to Atlanta.
Yep.
And as always, fins up.
Good night, guys. Fins up, and have a great upcoming weekend. Peace.